you got to remember something about Hurts's contract, though. The cap hits are not, they're not catastrophic. Like the Daniel Jones contract is catastrophic to the Giants' salary cap. I mean, that contract they have with him is that $40 million that they pay him plus the hits on the cap that they have each year. Dude, Jalen Hurts really is nothing. And it's really more of a 3-year deal instead of a 5-year deal. So it's not. However, when you do pay that money on March 16th or 17th, when the new NFL season kicks in, that money now is applied to your cap when it comes to his base. And the money you could have had, again, listen, it's not so much paying the kid. It's more this. Okay, you pay the kid and you miss on numerous draft picks, and you get nothing out of your draft picks the last couple of years. And all of that money you could have had between the A.J. Brown missing on the draft pick and having to go in free agent or having to go make a trade for him. You have to start with the money when it comes to restructuring and redoing this. Your salary cap right now is in chaos because half the team here, offense, all the money, defense, no money. And that's the result you had this year. Let's bring our friend Tone in for the segment here.
Big Sales, how we doing, sir?
People don't realize it starts with the money, man.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts' contract, it's one of the more interesting contracts out there because they're obviously paying him a lot of money, but the cap hits in and of themselves are definitely on the more favorable side.
Completely team favor.
Yeah, just to put it into perspective. So the 2024 season, he has a base salary of $1.1 million and a cap hit of $13.5 million. In 2025, a base salary of $1.1 million, cap hit of $21.7 million. In 2026, a $1.2 million base salary with a $31.7 million cap hit. And then 2027, is when it takes the bigger jump. The base salary is $1.3 million, and the cap hit is $45.8 million.
And that's why people don't realize the signing bonus is not applied in that.
Yeah,
he's talking the base.
Yeah, exactly. So in terms of the guarantees, he's fully guaranteed $179.3 million.
They gave him the bag of money up front, and they wanted the base down where near $1 million something.
Right,
it's brilliant.
So if we're doing some math here,
and that money, if I'm not mistaken, Tone, that 170, isn't it over 3 years?
That 170, if he has an average salary of 51 million a year, so the 179, if you disperse that over 4 years, that's about 44.8 million a year. So basically the guarantees include the 2023 salary, the 2024 salary, the 2024 option bonus, the 2025 salary, the 2025 option bonus, and 3.69 million of the 2026 salary. So basically, you're guaranteeing him. You're basically guaranteeing him 3 years and some change.
Yes, and on top of that, what again? The beautiful thing is that the base is so low because that's the cap hit.
Exactly.
Okay, and that to me,
and that's the flexibility, and
that's
I
the
think
flexibility that you're getting. That because you don't. One thing the owner did right, and the GM did right. Here's the bag up front. Here's the bag of money up front. I want to ask you a question here.
Yes.
All right, Tone. Do you think that Nick Sirianni should be given the opportunity to dig himself out of this?
He has 7 weeks. I mean, what could he do next season that he couldn't do in the 7 weeks on offense? The personnel's not going to change.
Coordinators are.
That may be true, but
because
then
he proved it in 22.
But then that argues what's his value then at that point. If if your success is hinges solely on your coordinators, what's your value? And that's why I'm concerned if they decide to keep him. Here's why. Because if you do keep him and you do bring in some qualified coordinators, basically what you're saying is Nick Sirianni agreed to take less control, to take a step back and allow the front office to make those decisions. Less power, less impact. Now we're questioning what his role is. Again, let's say those coordinators, they come here a year, 2 years, and they leave. We're back at square one with a guy that we have no faith in. So I don't understand the whole notion of bringing Sirianni back, bringing in new coordinators, just so when they leave, we can be right back to questioning his credibility again.
Yeah, but Tone, I think the thing that got exposed this year wasn't Nick. I think his job description got exposed.
Their process got exposed.
Their process got exposed, and this has always been the process. You see, look at what they've done right now. They've taken the Doug Peterson playbook out on giving him an opportunity to go out and with Frank. And by the way, I think it's a brilliant stroke of genius by Nick. And this was Nick, by the way, from what I understand, reaching out to Frank, who somebody they respect in the front office and his opinions, who got two head coaching jobs last year. He is helping them and helping him find these young coordinators and reaching out to them because Frank knows all these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Nick doesn't necessarily know all these guys. He's a very young guy still in this business. Right. But at the end of the day here, Frank is working. Now, I don't know if Frank is going to be the OC. I don't know that, but I do know.
Well, hear me out on this. I'm glad you said that.
They are working with him and trying to find coordinators.
Right. Listen to this. We had Rob Mahdi on Sports Tech earlier. He's an AP reporter. They're lead reporter. Very credible. Really great at his job. He covered the Philadelphia Eagles for 20 plus years. Now he's down in Tampa. We asked him about the dynamic between Nick and Frank and what it would look like if Nick came back and what's the best situation. And he brought up the fact that look. Because I challenged him with the same thing that I said to you, right? Why bring in new coordinators if they're not going to be here for another year or 2 years after that? And then we're back to questioning Nick again. He said that's why I believe the right answer is Frank Reich. And in so many words, he basically said Frank Reich, just from an age standpoint, from their relationship, that's the right move to make.
And head coaching, get this. Here's the one thing you have to look in that dynamic for Frank coming back to the organization and being a centerpiece like a Stoutland. He could be like a Stoutland in that organization. Here's why. How many NFL owners do you think are going to be knocking on the Eagles' door for Frank Reich being the next head coach after 2 failure places?
Not anymore. Not anymore. And that's the thing.
A coordinator that could be in place for the next 5 years, and that would be the stability that Jalen needs.
Correct.
To be able to have a coordinator in the building, knowing what to do and getting the proper tools around him, and the organization trust his hires and recommendations.
And that's my biggest concern. My biggest concern is stability. Bringing Nick back and bringing in some young coordinator, for him to listen to is just I don't see how that's sustainable. The most sustainable course of action, if they bring Nick back, is hiring older coordinators, guys that have been around the block already, guys that have had their opportunities, guys that are pretty set in stone about where they want to be in their NFL careers. I loved your Leslie Frazier pick. I love that. I loved what he was doing.
He wants back in.
Yeah, I loved what he was doing in Buffalo when he was there. He was there for what, 3 or 4 years? And then he took time off, right?
5 years, and
5 years.
The last
he took
3
time
years.
Off. I love their defense under him.
They were in the top 5.
Right, and he also developed linebackers. He developed Matt Milano. Matt Milano's become a multi-time All-Pro, if I'm not mistaken, a Pro Bowler. So he helped develop Matt Milano. The Eagles need somebody on that side that can help develop linebackers, and Matt Milano was a beast. Best believe that. So yeah, I think if they do bring Nick back, their coordinators have to be older. They have to be. If they're young guys, then we're going to be back at square one, and then it's just going to be a runaway train. A runaway train. It's not going to get good.
See on my
yep. Yeah.
You see Leslie Frazier?
Yeah. I also see Leslie Jones.
Okay. You see Leslie Frazier right there?
Yep.
He wants back in.
And he should. He should. Now, that begs the question.
I know him very well. And what are
the odds?
He's a no shit guy, though.
And that's literally what I was about to ask you. What are the odds a guy like Leslie Frazier works in Philly? There I go answer my own question again.
You know what?
There I go answer my own question again.
Here's something.
They got to go with Frank, though. They got to go with Frank.
Here's something to think about with a guy like Leslie Frazier. And Tone, this is going to sound terrible.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to it.
Kick my ass if I say it wrong, or help me, okay? He's black.
Okay.
How many opportunities do you think black coaches are going to be called to get head coaching jobs where you can keep the guy in the building? Because why? These owners don't like that look.
How long has Leslie been in the league just as a coach?
Forever.
Years, right? Because he used to play back in the day. He used to play, right?
If I'm not mistaken, I could have swore he was a head coach somewhere. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But get this. How about this? Brian Flores doesn't even have a job interview.
Right. You know, did you hear that the Falcons was interviewing Brian Johnson? I'm like, come on, dog. We know what that is.
It's Rooney.
I know what that is. You're going to hire Bill Belichick.
Is a really great coach and a really great man.
Okay, so Leslie was the head coach of the Vikings from 2011.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
2013. Yep. He became interim in 2010, but he was their head coach from 2011 to 2013, then became the DC in Tampa from 14 to 15.
And never got another call to be another head coach ever again.
Nope, never did. And it's been 10 years. 11 years now. Never
11 years. Dude, do you know how good a man that man is?
And
dude, you know who he is? He's a younger version of Lovey.
He's 64. He's 64 years old. He's not getting another call about
no.
So
there's what you're talking about right there, age.
That's what I'm looking for. I want an OC in DC that's older.
Another call for a head coach. Yeah,
it doesn't add up to me. And the thing is, though, you don't get too many opportunities, right? And then even the opportunities you get, they're not favorable. You don't have a quarterback, you don't have a defense, or you have to build from the ground up.
You get the shitty jobs.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, when you're not successful in 2 years, they're looking at you like you're a failure. It doesn't make any sense.
You know, Jim Caldwell and Lovey had winning records when they were canned in Chicago and in Detroit. Lovey was 10-6 in Chicago, and I think, and I think Jim Caldwell was that too in Detroit, and they got fired for winning records. Shit, I think if I'm not mistaken, Brian Flores, his last couple of years at Miami, he had winning records.
Didn't Jim Caldwell coach the Colts at the Dungy left?
Yes. Tremendous coach. You know, now that's an old school coordinator, and I don't think they'd be looking for anything like that.
Right.
But what'd you make of my guys here too? Also, how about this? Cliff Kingsbury, Zach Robinson, passing coordinator, Rams, works for Sean McVay.
Cliff Kingsbury makes me nervous. Something about him.
What, I don't know. Shady?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have nothing.
When you say, let me tell you something. When you say that as a guy just from 30,000 feet, and you're saying that, if you said that to a player in the locker room, and I'd be, because the first thing the players would go, why you say that, Tone? We'd all be going like this. Why'd he say that? And then we went, you think he's shady? And you go, yeah. All right, he said, hey, because man, we read that stuff like that.
Yo,
because I think he's shady a little bit too.
It's something about him, man. I feel it. The way, listen, all right, this may sound real petty. The way, okay, remember the year when they drafted Kyler Murray, right? Because I think Kingsbury was the head coach, right?
He was. He took the job. They blew out Josh Rosen.
Right.
Then they traded him to Miami. Then they drafted Kyler Murray.
I will never forget on draft night, and you know how they always have the cameras set up, in the war rooms, all that kind of stuff. This motherfucker was set up in this
lavish
you didn't like
spread.
Yo, he had this lavish ass all white room with the tall glass windows, all
Mountains
white
in the
couch.
background with a pool out there.
So
I
the
thought it was
pool,
a
the
Chanel
view.
commercial.
I was like, what the hell is this?
No, dude,
Are
it was
you
like
a-
I was waiting for a chick to come out of the pool going like,
Yo,
moving around like I was like a Chanel commercial.
I'm like, hold on, wait. Are you trying to get in Vogue magazine or GQ? Or are you
The
trying
mountains
to
in the background with the snow on it. I was like, damn, this dude.
I
You know
just
who lives
don't-
there now is Jonathan Gannon.
the same house?
Jonathan Gannon lives in that bitch now.
There's something about him, Sil. He just seems like a shyster. He seems shady.
Okay. Well, get this. Because you said that, he is completely off. I'm going to go Frank. You know what? I don't know, man. I think, you know what, man? My guy Tone goes like this.
Man.
When he said shady and shifty, I'm like, okay. Because I have a feeling of that, too, when I see him. What about the enemy?
We all know he's not getting that job. I think Bieniemy should be considered for a head coaching job. But hell would freeze over before he got a head coaching job in Philly. And he's not taking another OC job unless he gets blocked again.
Has he been fired in D.C.?
No. They haven't fired anybody yet officially. Well, they fired Rivera.
Yeah, they fired Rivera.
He hasn't been fired yet. Not officially. No. I told people, I said, look, don't be surprised if they consider him for their head coaching job. It'd be an easy transition for them. And he proved that he could develop a quarterback.
What if they give that job to Belichick? Belichick's going to get that Atlanta job.
Belichick's going to Atlanta.
Yeah.
He's going to Atlanta.
Because Arthur Blank is going to give him complete control. And get this. That means he's working with Rich McKay, who's been on my program. And I sent a text to Rich. I go, how many Rich, what's going on? You know what Rich said? Close. You know what Bill wants? Can I tell you what Bill wants?
What is it?
He wants Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson in Atlanta. You know, Sierra wouldn't mind that.
Look at you.
Sierra wouldn't mind that. Sierra would love
Sierra wouldn't mind Atlanta. It's a great city.
You think Sierra was letting his ass go to Pittsburgh?
No.
Right. So
or Tennessee? No.
No.
Hey, Sierra, how you doing, honey?
She didn't even want him in Philly.
I saw her at the Super Bowl, Tone. I'm going to make this point to you. I have never in my life seen a more stunning or more beautiful woman in my life than that woman. When she started walking towards us and she sat down with I could not believe how crazy. Dude, Sierra, I've never seen a better looking woman in my life.
Sills, here's what you got to understand.
Unbelievable.
Sierra has been fine since Rockaware was fire. She's been fine since Baby Fat. She's been fine since Sean John. You know, when they was popping Cristal.
Cameras don't do her justice. You got to see her in person.
No, they
Dude,
don't.
I've never in my life have seen anything that stunning like that. I mean, dude, I'm telling you, man, I've never in my. Hey, you know what? Brady has Giselle. Sorry,
no, Giselle ain't got shit on her.
Giselle's a baggage handler compared to that chick, man. I mean, that ain't cutting it, man. Holy,
man. But no, now I'm trying to picture that
something like
in
that.
Atlanta,
something like Russell Wilson, and he wants a veteran quarterback down there.
So he wants a veteran because I know some of his stipulations where he kind of wanted to work with the project. He didn't want something that was kind of ready made. He kind of wanted something he could put his
come down there and work with them too.
Yeah, something he could put his own handprint
personnel
on.
People.
Yeah. Now, and also I think another reason he likes Atlanta, I think he likes the way that defense is constructed.
Yeah.
They spent a lot of money on that defense the last offseason.
Plus, they have the makings of a good running game.
Yes, they do. I think Atlanta is one of the best kept secrets. They have potential out of this world.
I think they could win the South next year with him.
Yeah, all they need is a quarterback. If you put Russell Wilson with Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, and with that defense and their offensive line is decent, they can win. They could win the NFC South for sure.
And you know what? If you drafted Kid Bowers,
so you think they trade Pitts?
No, Pitts is not a tight end. Pitts is more of a slot guy. See,
But,
remember something?
he was drafted as a tight end, but you're
yeah,
right.
but
They
he's
use him.
not really. And I'll tell you what Dan Mullen said about him.
Yeah.
Dan Mullen said, don't ever line him up on the strong side because he's not a guy who can handle physicality. He wasn't that when he was at Florida. So what you do is you line him off the ball.
You got to line him up in trips. Like you got to have
line
him
him in weak side in the slot, around the slot in there. And you line him up kind of like Kelsey.
Yes. Allow him to have free release.
And then you run that double tight end that they ran with Aaron Hernandez and with Gronkowski up in New England.
You might be onto something. Could they draft Brock Bowers?
Yeah,
and bring back the double tight end sets like he did with Aaron Hernandez.
And have Russell Wilson just throw into the 2 tight ends and plus your wideouts that you have down there too.
Ooh, and they're all big bodies. Drake London is huge.
And you have the makings again of a running game, and in the second and third round, you draft guys in the O-line.
Yo, Sills, you might be onto something. That's actually
I think that's what he's envisioning, is because there's the makings of a good running game.
But is Atlanta willing to take the money?
Here's the thing. Yeah, I think Arthur Blank is willing to take the Home Depot guy. Absolutely, because he wants to win. He's in the same position Jerry Jones is in.
He owns Home Depot?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Arthur Blank owns Home Depot. Yeah, so here's why you could turn that thing around quicker in Atlanta and why the Atlanta job's good. The owner's going to give you the money. He's going to give you the autonomy. You go double tight end set. Instead of going out and getting wideouts, double tight end set means you don't have to have high percentage turnover plays on chucking the ball down the field like the Eagles like to do.
And you've got a better handle on contracts because tight end contracts, even though they are getting paid more money, they're not at wide receiver level.
$15 million instead of $25 million.
So if you build your offense around double tight end sets, you're going to always be ahead of the curve financially. Interesting. You might.
That's what New England. Aaron Hernandez screwed everything up because that double tight end set was something that nobody could defend.
They couldn't stop it.
They couldn't stop it. You know who the old pro tight end was first? It was Hernandez.
Right.
Remember? Before he killed that guy in South Florida, they gave him a contract extension.
Can you imagine if they probably would have won 8 Super Bowls?
Oh, God. They'd have won 3 more.
It was indefensible. They couldn't be defended. Too much size with a combination of speed, route running hands.
Why do you think the Patriots defended Aaron Hernandez as long as they did?
To the bitter end.
Which was when they finally, guys were going, he did it. You might not want to be on that limb.
He said
and
he
did
it.
Hey, okay, I guess so. They were the last person to say, dude, they were the last person to put their hand up and go, all right, he did it.
But
I mean,
the crazy thing about it is Aaron Hernandez, they knew about him since college. High school. They knew Aaron Hernandez was a guy that, listen, man, he's out there. He's in the mix. So
let me go back to your boys now.
Okay, let's do it.
So your owner's sitting down in the Caribbean having cocktails and Mai Tais.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they're supposedly meeting and,
Do you think he flies them out? Or comes back?
Up. And I think this is going to be a very interesting next couple days, 7 days, 6 days, whatever this is going to be.
Huh.
And I think it's going to come down to this. They're looking at the vision, him working with Howie. This could be a setup like it was for Doug. I think personally, this is either going to remember something too. You bring him back. He is the coach that's on the hottest seat next. Him and McCarthy.
I agree.
Are on the hottest seat if he comes back. Now, I got to give it to Jerry, and I'm going to tell you why bringing McCarthy back is the right thing.
Agreed. I said that a lot of people don't buy into that, but I think it was the right move.
If Jerry Jones is 55 years old, that's one conversation. When you're 81 years old, and what was the record? They're 36-15 in the last 3 years. You're this close. The NFC is not really all that great right now. Anything can turn. You're as close as you're going to be. Why would you come in and bring up and do anything to kind of upset that when at the end of the day, you got a ton of things to do in free agency? You got to re-sign a boatload of guys. And, Tone, if this thing fucks up, I'll just hire Dion next year, and I'll bring in Shedeur Sanders, and I'll pass it off to my son, and I'll sit there and watch it and sitting there in the dad chair in the owner's box here, because why wouldn't I? Because let me tell you what DeMeco Ryans has done. DeMeco Ryans has shown me, if you understand the NFL and you understand the NFL player and you understand winning, I don't care who you are. Okay? I see it done in basketball all the time. Guy's never had any kind of coaching experience whatsoever. Guy walks in there, all of a sudden Mark Jackson is turning the Warriors around. Mark never coached a goddamn day in his life. And you're sitting there going, what? Steve Kerr was kind of an assistant with Popovich in San Antonio a bit, but this guy didn't really. He was in the booth, right? He was in the booth with ESPN. And you're going like, all of a sudden he goes, now he's going to go to the Hall of Fame as a coach in the NBA. I think it's easier in the NBA. There's only 5 guys. There's 53. I get it. But still, I think that notion that ex-NFL players, I think you take that away now. I think that DeMeco Ryans shows me that you could walk in off the street here if you have a great understanding and a great knowledge of the game, that you can move the sticks and you can move people and motivate people.
Yeah, DeMeco Ryans, he's such an interesting person because he played with the Philadelphia Eagles. He was a linebacker in the league, and
Alabama guy.
And he always was a general on the field. You know what I mean? So he has that leadership quality. What he's doing in Houston with C.J. Stroud and those guys, it's honestly spectacular. When I think about things on the Philadelphia Eagles side, right? Jeffrey Lurie and those guys. Do you buy into the stories that Nick and Howie are out here scouring the faces of the earth for coordinators and coaches, trying to prepare a presentation for Jeffrey?
It's more about Nick's vision.
So
yes.
Does that imply Howie needs Nick to come back because of everything we talked about before? Remember how Howie surviving 3 or 4 head coaching changes is not normal. So do you think, okay, let me ask you this. If Howie had it his way, do you think he would want Nick Sirianni back, or do you think he would want a new? Yes.
No, I don't think no. So I don't think he wants to fire him.
Okay, you don't think he wants to fire him? Okay.
No, I don't think he wants to fire him. Okay. I think the owner does. I think Howie has to show the owner that there's a pure vision. And quite frankly, I think that I'll take that back. I think the owner's waffling on firing him or not, because here, Tone, you and I know this, and you just getting new into the business, but I think you've gotten a really great grasp of how media works. The Eagles do not like to let things hang out there at all when it comes PR-wise. I mean, you were telling me this. Sills, they do fumble drills every day. And I go, yeah, well, they ain't putting them on their website every day and doing up downs.
And look, when you challenge me on that, right?
Size fired. And you're going like, well, wait a minute. They got ahead of that firing because they put a theatrical play on because they wanted to show the authority that Nick had. Okay. They like getting ahead of stuff. They don't want to be behind. For them to allow this story to, I mean, if they didn't think, or if they didn't want this out there, hey, personally, all these leaks, I think it's the Eagles.
You said it, not me, because I think.
Why wouldn't they stop it and go, Nick's our guy? Who said he was?
I'm so glad you said that. We were talking about this with Rob Marty on Sports Take. Howie Roseman has made a career out of manipulating and controlling the narrative. He cares about that. They care about how they look.
For media.
Exactly. He cares about how he looks in situations. He cares about the optics. He cares about the perception. They care about that tremendously within the Eagles organization. If there was any sign or any fragment of their spirit that felt like Nick Sirianni was being unjustly criticized, they would have said it. They would have said it. And they would have said, no, he's our guy. We're committed to him. And they would move past this. But they know for a fact that everyone's right in the fact that his job is not safe, and rightfully so.
They want that hanging out, Tone. Or they would look, the players have come and said something. And dude, I don't know if it's true or not. Somebody said that they edited it out or whatever it was where they added the endorsement. I mean, I don't know about you here, man.
Wait, they edited it out? What do you mean?
Is that if the Eagles wanted that to go away, they could have made that go away yesterday. But for some reason, they're allowing that narrative. All these reporters going in on every day, listening, talking, interviewing. Nobody in the organization is endorsing anybody. I mean, and get this, to a point that I'm going to get to you here. I wonder, now this is just me and a conspiracy theory. I'm going to say it, okay? I wonder if the owner and the GM and the agent, Nicole Lynn, are not endorsing Nick because management has made it clear we're not endorsing anyone yet, and we'll let you know what we do here, because Jalen Hurts, this has gone on how many days? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's 4 days. He has not endorsed him.
Nope.
Now, you had 4 days to go. I'm not. Nick Sirianni is my guy. Instead of watching, this is how he's answering it. I didn't know that was a thing. What? What did I say?
He's being very coy about it. And guess what?
I was watching a video of Jeff Kerr. What I say? I was like, "Come on, son."
He knows what he's.
Shit,
listen,
man.
Jalen.
No better than that.
Jalen is an intelligent individual. He's very calculated. He's very privy to his brand. He's very privy to relationships. He's very manicured and meticulous in what he says and what he gives to the media and what he does not. He does not waste any words. Jalen Hurts has not endorsed Nick Sirianni because he does not want Nick Sirianni to be his head coach. I firmly believe this. I firmly believe that I firmly believe Nick Sirianni's future hinges on Jalen Hurts' endorsement. I firmly believe that.
But Tone, so okay.
Because listen, you always say follow the money. They put $250 million into this kid based off potential. They'll be damned if they let a guy like Nick Sirianni come in and ruin that potential. Think about that. $250 million. They saw what happened with Wentz. They can't afford to let that happen again.
Let me ask you this. Okay. That being said, so they're going to go against conventional wisdom and they're going to go against their MO. And you think he has say on the next head coach and on the next offensive coordinator when that's an organization that really doesn't – they didn't listen to Doug. They didn't listen to Andy. They didn't listen to any of those guys. But all of a sudden, is it maybe the money has changed that dynamic in it, and it could have easily.
The money's gotten bigger.
I'm not saying that wouldn't.
Right.
But what I'm saying is you really think an organization who likes to do things themselves and thinks they're empowered themselves and that this is all them is going to turn around and give a player saying who the next guy is? Listen, I don't know. I think that's a reach a little bit.
Hey, listen, that's what we're here to do, right? We're here to reach for the stars.
Dude, this is the absolute show of reach arounds.
But no, I really believe it because if Jalen comes out and he did say, yeah, Nick is my guy, we had a rough year, but I think we can make a comeback, he's my guy. I really believe we wouldn't be having this conversation. I really believe that Jalen Hurts has not gone out his way to go above and beyond for Nick Sirianni.
In any way, and he's had days.
In any way, shape, or form after that game, especially right after the game when the emotions are raw, he could have said, no, he's our guy. Like, what do you mean? And look, he could have said it in his own way. You know what he says? Oh, no, I support everybody. I support Brian. I support, Matt Patricia. I support
that's a thing.
Tulo, Nick.
That's
it's like oh yeah, of course, yeah, you support everybody. Okay, I support everybody. What does that mean? So again, I think they've probably had or are having conversations with Jalen Hurts to figure out how he feels about this whole thing. Because again, that's the investment. That's the money. You said it yourself. I care more about. Remember you said about the Niners, right? They care more about money loss than losing the picks for Trey Lance.
Yeah.
The Brock Purdy drafting saved them from a financial standpoint, and they look at it as, okay, well, I mean, draft picks, they come and go, but money, that could set you back for years.
Absolutely.
So in this situation,
because it sets your cap back.
Exactly. They guaranteed this young brother north of $170 million.
Ton of dough.
And you mean to tell me his opinion is moot? I'm not buying that. The way Nicole Lynn moving in these streets, I'm not buying that.
She's brilliant.
She's brilliant. I'm not buying it.
Dude, I'm more impressed with the Quentin Williams deal she put together. Two of the quietest deals in the. I mean, she put about $700 million worth of deals together, and I didn't even hear anything about it. And go, Quentin Williams was signed to the all-time number for defensive tackles. Yeah, Jalen Hurts got $51 million. Holy shit! I heard no noise.
Exactly, and then it makes it even more worse when you couple it with the fact that wait, Shane's here for 2 years. Shane leaves. All of a sudden, Hurts has this massive drop off. This team loses 6 of their final 7 games. Some of this drop off is inexplicable. You have 2,000-yard receivers and a 1,000-yard running back, a top 5 offensive line. You can't score more than 9 points. Something is wrong here. I don't think Hurts believes Nick Sirianni is the guy to bring him to the top of where he wants to be. I don't think he believes that.
Okay, let me fair. And the money, look, I always start with the money because you have to when we're talking NFL because of the salary cap and because of turnover every year. You have to, especially when you have a football team. See, the Eagle salary cap is in chaos right now. It's a complete chaos because of the other side of the ball. It's not, dude, you're not. I want to show you something here, Tone. So the amount of money, and I'm not talking cap, I'm talking money that you're spending. This year, starting in March, Jalen gets 50, around that number. Mm-hmm. Your wide receiver gets 21. There's 71. You've got 2 tackles north of 16 million. That's 32. That's 102. Let's just say Kelsey comes back. That's another 15. That's 170. Hoss, your cap is 220 million. How are you going to pay on that side of the ball and justify with an 18% increase in the salary cap, only being able to spend $70 million on your defense? You're lucky you have your 2 D tackles in rookie deals. Your corners are 30 million. Get this. I had just the corners, Tone. You're at 230. Mm-hmm. The cap is 228. Right. That's what it's being projected at.
Yeah, they don't have much flexibility, right? Because I'm looking at their situation right now for the 2024 salary cap, and the reality is, their estimated cap space going into 2024 is 28.5 million, right? But here's the thing: that 28.5 million is going to disappear quickly if you feel the need or desire, or you try to get Kelsey or Fletcher Cox back. That's going to be gone.
But also this.
So,
okay, how are you dealing with the construction of the contracts at the corner position?
All right, I'm with you. By the way, I'm agreeing with you. Basically, saying they have almost no flexibility here.
You have no money except for this because of the misses in the draft, in the cap, and being a balanced cap. You understand what he's done here is that he pushes chips in on 22. And this is why, Tone, I told you you're a 5-win team in 2 years. Because he does not have any flexibility. And the only thing he did that was really of significance, that was great, is the Hurts cap hits.
Mm-hmm. That saved them a little bit. Did you know Hassan Reddick has the largest cap hit in 2024? His cap hit is 21.3 million.
There's your entire salary cap. How are you paying the other 9 guys?
That's 8.7% of the total cap. Lane Johnson cap hit 16 million, which is 6.6% of the cap. Kevin Byard cap hit 14.2 million, which is 5.82.
What's Mulata's?
Jordan Mulata, he has a $10.7 million cap hit, which is not bad at all. But
It
yeah,
all adds up, though.
it's all going to add up. Jalen Hurts has the $13.5 million cap hit.
How about AJ?
AJ Brown's cap hit is 12.4 million. 12.4. When you look at it like that, some of these cap hits aren't terrible, but it's how it's allocated. It's how it's where the money is sitting.
Because it's on one side of the ball.
It's on one side of the ball. It's really on one side of the ball.
What are the 2 corner cap hits?
Okay, here. James Bradbury's cap hit. Let's see here. So James Bradbury's cap hit in 2024 will be 4.8 million.
Not horrible.
Not horrible. His dead cap hit is 17.2 though.
Can't move him.
So, but he was so bad.
Dude, you're not putting 17 on your cap that's dead cap money. Are you fucking kidding me?
No, Sills, he was so bad though.
You know what I'd rather do? I'd rather pay him and send him home.
Darius Slay, listen to this. Darius Slay has a $10.9 million cap hit with a $35 million dead cap hit. He's not going anywhere.
That's $45 million that you have to get this. It's almost, Tone, this is crazy, but it's almost worth paying them and sending them home. Yeah, right? I'm not paying $35 million in another.
You have north of $50 million in dead cap.
In those 2 dudes.
But in those 2 dudes. No way they're cutting both of them.
Can't. And by the way, I guarantee you they're not restructuring.
Why would they?
Why would you?
Would you?
No. Shit,
I
I'm
wouldn't.
33 years old. This is my last big money. I'm not getting another contract like this in the open market.
I ain't giving you nothing back.
I'm not giving Hey, you want to be one of those giver back guys? Hey, get this. You got the wrong dude. Hey, get this, man. At Consolidated Garbage, that's Big Sills' company. No deposit, no return. I don't give you any return on your deposit here, man. And you put the money in, it's mine.
And this goes back to the crux of all this. They have to hit on these draft picks.
That's right. They lost all leverage and latitude.
And do you think that idea, because of the lack of flexibility cap-wise, because they are really depending on these draft picks to hit, do you think it's plausible that Jeffrey Lurie just says, "Look, we need a lot of stuff to go right, Howie. I can't let you have all this power. We need a lot of things to go right now, and I can't afford to put all my eggs in your basket."
Because get this, you know what could be being done behind the scenes too? Could this be a possibility? Is he not only just evaluating Nick Sirianni, but is he also the reason that he's having these 2 guys work together?
Because he evaluating both of them.
Is he evaluating Howie?
Yes, I agree. Yes.
I mean, I don't think that that's being reported enough. Is that aren't both guys responsible for the mess that happened here? And if that's the case, isn't Jeffrey Lurie going to go like this? Let's see how these 2 guys want to fix this and clean this thing up.
Let's see your game plan.
I'll make a better assessment on what guy I think I'm going forward with. Isn't this what he did with Howie and Doug? Mm-hmm. Didn't he look at it and choose Howie? And he sent Doug away. I wonder if he regrets that move today compared to that because doesn't it look right now like he's doing the same thing, and he's not going to let history repeat itself again because he chose. Now, look, he can also go like this. Hey, he did put us in a Super Bowl last year.
Right.
I mean, Tone, I think he's doing this because this is the Doug Peterson handbook. Who am I going to go with? Am I going with Nick? Am I going with Howie? Am I going with both? Can they both coexist?
I think in either circumstance, regardless how it goes down, I think Howie Roseman is losing power this offseason. I think regardless of what happens.
And not in contracts.
No. That's his forte. I'm more so talking about personnel, drafting. I wouldn't be surprised if, regardless of the circumstance, Nick comes back, Nick gets fired, whatever. I think Howie Roseman's control I think his grip is going to loosen this
How
offseason.
about this, Tone? What's been more detrimental to the success of the Eagles, the analytics department or the personnel department?
Personnel, because I go back to your point that you made a couple of days ago, or was it yesterday? I can't remember, but you made a point about, and I made the point earlier as well. It's so important to have a balanced salary cap, and the only way you can balance it properly is if you're hitting on your draft picks and you're getting top-notch production or at least competent production from guys on rookie deals. And that's why, believe it or not, that's why the Bills got back in motion, because they had a lot of injuries on defense and they were still trying to figure it out. But once they figured it out and figured out everyone's role and everyone settled in, that defense got way better.
That's why Baltimore has been a stable franchise.
That's why Baltimore's been
for
stable
the last 20 years. And look at San Francisco, what they've been doing since Lynch got there.
That's why
they've
Buffalo's
been
been
balanced
stable.
in their cap.
Yeah, and so that's why, to your question, I think personnel decisions have been the biggest downfall, because you have not hit enough of your draft picks. You have not developed enough guys to where as though you can get max production on a rookie contract, which will give you flexibility and you won't be forced to spend money in free agency. It ties you up. You brought that to my attention, and I never really gave it much thought until you laid it out the way you did. And it's so important to maximize your draft picks and get something out of those guys,
because of the money.
Because if you don't, you're going to try to plug that hole elsewhere. And how else do you do it? Free agency or a trade. And now at that point, you're leveraging assets that can be used elsewhere to try to fill one spot. Whereas if you draft a guy, no harm, no foul.
You're not dealing with a full deck.
Yeah.
Tony, you're not using all the tools in your toolbox.
Right.
And you're GM when you're doing that.
Exactly.
The key is this. Hey, you want to draft some starters. You want to hit. You want to get some picks, especially at the premium positions, where, get this, these guys are going to get 3 years on a rookie deal, which means I'm paying them nothing. And these guys are productive.
Look at Detroit.
And if there's some holes I need to fill, I can go find some holes to fill. And I don't want to spend $25 million. Here, Kansas City's a great example of that. In my opinion, Kansas City did not want to pay Tyreek Hill the $25 million. You know what they did? They retooled their defense. And now their defense is going to be a world-class defense for the next 5 years during the Mahomes era. Mahomes needs a great defense. Don't get him some pieces in the offseason. But here they are again, now in a divisional round, going to Buffalo. Tone, I mean, it's balancing your cap and getting the maximum that you can possibly get. Look at the two corners they have right now. Get this. They didn't want to pay the Honey Badger. They didn't want to pay some other guys on that team. They got rookies at corner position. Do you understand what that means? They got two corners making $2 million apiece. You have two corners making $30 million combined.
Listen, I'm about to blow your mind for a second. So this is about to get funny. So Kansas City, right? We talk about balancing the salary cap, right? Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, his cap hit for 2024 is $57.3 million, right? Mm-hmm. That's his cap hit.
And I'm good with that.
But right. It's Patrick Mahomes. Why wouldn't you be, right? So keep that in mind. $57.3 million. That's 23% of your total salary cap, right? Now listen to this. Their offense as a whole, $158 million cap dollars. That's $158 towards the cap. Their defense, which is their best group, guess how much money they spend on this side of the ball in 2024. Just guess.
Well, Jones makes 20, and I can't think of anybody else on that defense that makes any. Maybe the linebacker. I can't really see anybody on that other side of the ball outside of Jones making money.
As of right now in 2024, and of course they probably got some moves to make, got some signings to do. You got free agents you got to take care of. But as of right now, did you know Kansas City on defense has a total cap hit of $51.7 million?
That is
And guess where that ranks in the NFL?
Number one.
31st. Well, yeah, 31st.
It's second.
So that they spend the second lowest amount of money on defense, and they have a top 5 defense. That is the definition of hitting on your draft picks.
Completely. And making a tough choice to move off of Tyreek Hill.
Right. And
do you
gotta ask yourself,
understand those two things? Here's the things that coincided. Watch. You moved off Hill, you hit on your picks, and you're winning. All those things are beneficial. Get this. They may not win it this year. I don't know. They may not win it, right? However, their Super Bowl window now opens up for another 4 years.
Because of their defense and their quarterback.
Because of the way they allocated the money and resources. That's exactly what I'm talking about Roseman doesn't do. And that's that Jeff Kerr comment again, Tone.
And guess what?
It's not success that's sustainable because of the way he does business.
And guess what, right? We wouldn't even be having this conversation really if he hit on the picks. If he hit on the picks.
Or got any production out of him.
Right. We wouldn't be having this conversation if he got production out of the draft picks.
See, look, again, people just looked at it on the outside and just looked at it like, in the simple look, oh, he missed on Rager when it came to Jefferson. That's not really what he missed on.
It's bigger than that. He
missed on the leverage of a couple of years, 3 years of a rookie deal and the production of the player. Look at what Minnesota got. Think about that. Minnesota got a superstar player and 3 years of a rookie deal. What do you think they did with their cap? I mean, dude, anytime you get something like that is a gold mine.
Oh, listen to this. Listen to this. I'm about to blow your mind again. On defense, right? The Philadelphia Eagles in 2024 in total cap dollars, total cap hit for the whole team. Remember, I told you Kansas City's, right? Kansas City's total cap hit was $51.7 million for their whole defense. And they're a top 5 defense. The Philadelphia Eagles have a total cap hit for their defense at $108.5 million. And they were the worst defense in the NFL.
And tell everyone else what Kansas City's was.
Kansas City spent half of that at $51.7 million for their defense in 2024. Now let's add context. Let's go to 2023, right? Let's make it more accurate because 2023 is the season that just ended. So let's update it to 2023 and let's just talk about what they paid for in 2023, okay? Because the numbers I'm giving you is for 2024. So all right. On the 2023 roster, the Chiefs, this is actually more damning for the Philadelphia Eagles, actually, in my opinion. So for the 2023 season that just ended, right? The Chiefs had a total cap hit of $75.5 million on defense, right? So hold that in mind, $75.5 million on defense for Kansas City. For the Eagles on defense.
That's because of the restructuring 1-year deal of Jones.
Right, exactly. But hear me out on this. So $75.5 million for KC on defense in 2023. For the Eagles, they spent $74 million. So my point in saying that is they spent the same amount of money on defense, yet Kansas City has a top 5 defense and the Eagles have a bottom 5 defense. What's the common denominator? Poor drafting.
And the money spread out across the backfield, the linebackers, and the D-line. And you have balance on that side of the ball where you don't have balance on your side. You have mercenaries. You see, again, they're not going to have massive turnover in Kansas City over the next 3 years. Philly will.
And
Tom,
also,
I got to get going here. Got Jason Cole coming up.
Oh yeah, that's right. Listen, man. Look, we could talk for hours about this shit.
I got it, man.
Listen, I appreciate you, man. It's always fun.
Interesting times, my friend.
I love it.
Interesting times. I appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. That is Tone. Jason Cole's going to join us. We're going to talk about some of these divisional games and some of the things going on in the NFL. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
Football and Hooters, the perfect pair.